conditions are damn near perfect for growing the best hemp in the world. Nothing ordinary about our seeds either. These are genetics, cooked up right here in Oregon, producing less than 0.3% THC and kicking out 15 to 20% full-spectrum cannabinoids. Last year, we harvested 110,000 pounds. This year, well over 1 million. By the end of the year, we'll be one of the largest CBG producers in the US of A. This plant has always had the power to change the world. Now it can, and it is. And it's happening right here at Hemptown, USA. We've been busy here at Hemptown, USA. Back in spring, we bought 4.5 million premium hemp seeds from our friends at Oregon CBD Seeds, then divided them 3 ways. A third to Kentucky, a third to Colorado, and a third, all the CBG genetics, stayed right here in Oregon. Planted in greenhouses to start, it didn't take them long to pop and start reaching for the sky. Look at those bad boys go. Now, in midsummer, they're almost all on the ground. Over 1,500 acres in 3 states. It's a lot of work, but we're getting her done. We've been busy off the farm too. We bought the KIRKMAN Group, a fully operating nutraceutical facility just outside of Portland. FDA approved, CGMP certified. This allows Hemptown to fast-track formulations, products, and distribution in one of the cleanest facilities in the US of A. This plant has always had the power to change the world. Now it can, and it is. Stay tuned. This is going to be one epic year at Hemptown, USA.
So, good afternoon. My name is Zayn, I'm the head of corporate finance for Hemptown, not Hemp Fusion. But yeah, so we're a feminized hemp producer based in Southern Oregon. As you can see by the videos, the company's scaled substantially in the past 8 months. Last year we harvested 50 acres of hemp. 110,000 pounds was our yield. We sold that primarily to processors at an average of about $56 a pound. The company's, I think that, yeah, the deck. Well, once the deck's up there, okay. So yeah, we've scaled considerably from that original 50 acres to just over 1,500 acres. And we're growing in 3 states now, Oregon, Kentucky, and Colorado. In Oregon, it is all company owned and operated. In Kentucky, it is we're working with 19 former Philip Morris tobacco farmers. And in Colorado, we are working with a multi-generational farming family. So altogether, we've in Oregon and Oregon, we're growing a primarily CBG crop, whereas in Kentucky and Colorado, we are growing CBD genetics. So with that scale, we have also entered the consumer packaged goods space. We acquired an FDA pharmaceutical manufacturing facility in Portland, Oregon. We have begun to manufacture our own consumer packaged goods with our own formulations based on using our own hemp from our farms in Oregon and Kentucky. The company has done just over $11 million in revenue year to date, and we're on track to do about $30 million from the sale of this year's harvest in November and December, and the sell-through of that harvest next year will help us realize numbers of upwards of $150 million in revenue, primarily from the sale of our CBG crop, which is on average selling for about $20,000 a kilo as isolate or distillate. So just to kind of run through, we're an established operator. We've farmed last year. We're not just entering the market. With the passing of the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp is federally legal, and we saw that as a huge opportunity to scale. We're using premium genetics, both on the CBG and CBD fronts. With the CBG, we had a really interesting opportunity this year where we had access to approximately 40% of the total CBG-rich genetics. CBG, if you haven't heard of it, and a lot of people haven't, is the precursor cannabinoid to THC and CBD. So typically, when the plant is very young, you have a high CBG content in the plant, but it might only represent 1 to 2% of the total plant volume. As the plant matures, that CBG typically synthesizes into THC or CBD CBD or some combination thereof. We have the genetics that we're using are very rare, and they allow you to generate a plant that grows to full term and gets upwards of 12% CBG. We just had some COAs come in this year, or come in last week, that show our plants at around 14% CBG. So with that opportunity, there's a lot of different applications for CBG, specifically in terms of antimicrobial properties, antibacterial properties. We're currently working on a number of different formulations in skincare and cosmetics, and that's the real benefits of the market. But second to that, CBG sells for substantially more than CBD. Whereas CBD currently is selling for $2,000 a kilo in isolate form, CBG is selling for upwards of $20,000 a kilo. We're working with as the company has scaled over the past 8 months, we've raised just over $30 million year to date since January. With that scale and with the funds that we've raised, we've obviously scaled the farming operation, but we've also invested quite heavily in infrastructure around manufacturing of consumer packaged goods and formulations. One thing that we did not scale quite as far as processing, and that was we wanted to work with a processor who had established customers, was supplying co-packers in the market already had formulations, already had the ability to bring products not only from isolate and distillate, but to water-soluble products, and had the distribution channels established already. So we're working with one of the largest processors in the nation, probably the second largest. They're based in Kentucky. We're going to be announcing that publicly in the next couple weeks, but that allows us to basically provide a product to the market through their existing distribution channels, and we can deliver any kind of formulation, whether that's water-soluble CBG, water-soluble CBD, blends thereof, and isolate. So just to kind of recap, we're an established market leader. We've been farming hemp since 2017 in the Emerald Triangle in Oregon. We scaled, working with different partners in Kentucky and Colorado. We've been very active in lobbying as well. The passing of the Farm Bill, we saw a huge opportunity. Hemp is a massive opportunity for the American farmer, and we're really trying to support that as best we can. Our leadership team is great. Rod Wolterman, our founder, has been in the industry for over 20 years. He's been farming hemp for the past 4 in Oregon. He's really led the charge and really a visionary in the hemp industry and saw the opportunity. Our president, Michael Townsend, is quite well known in Vancouver. He's worked on a number of different companies. He's raised upwards of $180 million in his career. Patriot One and Body and Mind are 2 of the companies that he was instrumental in building from the ground up. Russell Skibsted joins us from the pharmaceutical industry. He's recently joined the company in the past 2 months. He's worked with a number of different biotech companies in the U.S. He has extensive NASDAQ experience, and we're really leveraging that as the company aims to go public in Q1 of 2020. Bruce Trent joins us from Red Bull. He was one of the first 30 employees at Red Bull North America. He helped grow that company through a number of different distribution channels, and he's helping us with our consumer packaged goods space and our distribution of our cannabinoid-based products. I'm sure a lot of you know, but and this number is thrown out here quite often, the $22 billion, the market's projected to be $22 billion by 2020. We've seen even bigger numbers over the past couple months in Europe, and we're really strategically positioned to capitalize on that rapidly growing market. Just to kind of touch back on our genetics, we work with a genetics partner out of Oregon, and we've been put in a really good position. We took a big bet on the CBG this year. We spent over $5 million in seeds, and it's really paid off. Right now in Oregon, we're seeing numbers of upwards of $500 a pound for CBG flower. We didn't believe there was going to be a CBG flower market, but it turns out that a lot of people are looking for it, and that is really going to support our revenue numbers, and we could actually have a very big win here before the end of the year. Just to touch on CBG, as I did previously, the real benefit of CBG is you're seeing a lot of compression in the market, and we fully believe that the market will commoditize, whether we're talking about CBG, CBD, or future cannabinoids, but we're already growing our future cannabinoids already on the farm. We're doing test crops for CBDV and the varins, and we're looking at that market, and our goal is to always be ahead of the curve when it comes to novel cannabinoids. Just to kind of touch on our farming and how we've invested considerably in our infrastructure at the farm. We're able to do drying. We have combine harvesting. We have proprietary technology when it comes to our combines that allow us to harvest thousands of acres. There's a lot of the numbers that people have projected in the past year has been that there's 70,000 acres of hemp was grown last year, and upwards of 1 million acres was licensed this year. Realistically, it's probably closer to 200,000 acres was probably planted, but a lot of that is going to get left in the field just because people don't have the infrastructure or the technology to harvest it efficiently. KIRKMAN is our FDA-approved manufacturing facility in Portland, Oregon. It's allowing us to really build our consumer packaged goods space, and we're going to work really heavily over the next couple months to build out our consumer packaged goods business as we generate a lot of revenue from our wholesale sale of our crop. And yeah, thank you.